All right, we're going to go over quadratic word problems, okay? Does everybody know where to get this from? Because I went straight to this screen. Does everybody know where to get your word problems from? Okay, all right, good deal. Okay, so I'm going to go over this. If you have questions of any sort, do not hesitate. Don't hesitate to ask, because your questions are going to be so similar to this, okay? Very, very similar. All right, so let's look at number one. First thing that we have to understand about a quadratic function is that most real-world quadratic functions are downward parabolas. And they're downward parabolas because in real life, what goes up must come down due to gravity, okay? So with a quadratic function, ax, this is what makes it a quadratic function, this term right here, the x squared term, plus your bx plus your c, okay? This number right here, okay? This is your downward velocity, and it's always going to be -16. And it's always -16 because remember, gravity, if I was to drop these two items at the same time, they're both going to fall at the ground at the same time because of gravity, gravitational pull, okay? So this, in any of these realistic word problems, you're going to see this a lot. -16 x squared. This is my downward velocity. And I'm going to write this in, downward. And the fact that it is a -16, that lets you know right there, this is my downward velocity. Okay. Now this b term right here, this is my initial speed or my initial velocity, okay, that it takes off at. So this is my initial speed or my initial velocity, my starting speed. Okay. And lastly, this number at the back, you got a question, babe? Okay. This number at the back, this is my starting height. Okay, this is my starting height. Or my initial height. It could be feet, meters, miles, you know, whatever. Okay. Any questions about this part right here alone? Is everybody okay with this logic? Okay, so now let's look at number one. Let's read it and figure out what they want. It says a fireworks rocket is launched from a hill above the lake. The rocket will fall into the lake after exploding at a maximum height. Okay. The rocket's height above the surface of the lake is given. This is the equation right here. The equation is g of x or y is equal to -16x. Again, this is my downward velocity plus 64x. This is my initial speed. Okay, so it's probably feet per second. And how do I know it's feet per second? Because we know that the unit that they use for y or height is feet. Okay, and then we assume that they're talking about seconds here. We're not talking about minutes. Wouldn't take it that long, so we're going to assume that they're talking about seconds until they tell us. And then we have plus the initial height that the rocket left from was 80 feet. And again, feet, because y is feet. The height is feet. So this is my initial height. It's 80 feet from the ground. Okay, any questions about what any of these numbers mean? Yes, baby. Sure. Okay. Okay, downward velocity, initial speed, initial height. All right, so what are they asking me for? The maximum height. So they're actually asking you for this part right here. This max value here, or the vertex. Okay, x is going to be the time in seconds, and y is going to be the height in feet. So this is the value that we're looking for here. the y in feet, that maximum height. Okay? So how do we figure that out? In order for us to figure out what the vertex is, we have to find AOS first, X, the axis of symmetry. So the formula for AOS, or axis of symmetry, the X value of our vertex is X is equal to negative B divided by 2A. Is there anyone that's lost? Okay, let me know whenever you feel like I'm moving too fast for you. Don't hesitate. If you have a question about something big or small, doesn't matter how small or how big it is, just ask, okay? So now in order to get these values, we're gonna find our A, our B, and our C, okay? So our A is negative 16. Our B is 64. And our C is 80, okay? We don't need 80, but we do need to know that that is. So now let's substitute those values in. So we got negative, our B is 64, so let's put 64 in here, divided by 2. Our A is negative 16. So now we substitute. You see how we substitute these values in that we needed? So now let's simplify. That gives us negative 64 on the top, and that gives us negative 32 on the bottom. So what is my X value going to be? What's negative 64 divided by negative 32? 2, positive 2. So my X is equal to 2, okay? X is equal to 2. Right, so this is 2. In 2 seconds, it reached the highest point in 2 seconds. Okay? It reached its max point in 2 seconds. Its highest speed. So what was that then? So what you have to do is substitute 2 into the equation to figure out what y is. Okay? Y is equal to negative 16x squared plus 64x plus 80. I'm going to plug in 2. So this is y is equal to a negative 16 times 2 squared plus 64 times 2 plus 80. Okay? All right, so I'm gonna clear my calculator. When you get your calculator, please, for your test, please clear it, okay? So let's clear our calculator. Excuse me, y'all. This is gonna be second plus 712. Second plus 712. Okay. So let's type this in. We got negative 16 times that 2 squared plus 64 times 2 plus 80. Okay, make sure you type that in. And what does that give you when you type that in? What does that give you when you type that in? What's your y value equal to? Yes. 144. So it's 144 feet. So in 2 seconds, the rocket reached at 144 feet in 2 seconds. Any questions about that? Use the raise your hand tool if you got that right on your own. See if anybody got that right on their own. I think somebody did as I was checking over your work. Very good. Okay. Not too shabby. Anyone still making the correction? All right. Okay, let's do number 2. Okay, number 2 says fireworks rocket is launched from a hill above a lake. A rocket will fall into the lake after exploding at a maximum height. Okay, the rocket's height above the surface of the lake is given, and this is the equation again, same equation as before. How long will it take the rocket to hit the ground? Okay, so let's look at what that looks like. This is the rocket, okay? What are they looking for? Okay, they are looking for when does it hit the ground? Okay, so they're looking for this amount over here when your y or your height is at 0. So they're looking at this. This is what they're looking for, that x value. It says how long, so they're looking for x seconds. We know our height is going to be 0 because it hit the ground. The height is 0 on the ground. So this is what they're looking for. So in order to figure out what this is, you are going to factor, okay? And notice, look, my answers are not decimals. So this is probably going to be on the calculator inactive section. So let's not use the calculator to solve this. They're probably going to have you do this in the calculator inactive section. So I've got to show you how to do that without the calculator. So this is how this works. So you're going to write the equation, y is equal to negative 16x. Please, if you get lost, just tell me that you are lost. So what you need to know is that your y is going to be 0 because your height is 0 because it hits the ground. So in order to solve a quadratic function, sometimes you'll see something that looks like this. The first thing you have to do is factor. You have to factor, and then you set each of your factors equal to 0 and solve. Okay, so that's what you do. You factor, set your factors equal to 0, and solve for x. Remember, you're going to have more than likely more than one value for x because look at this. Your parabola crosses the x-axis in more than one place. So you should have more than one answer. Okay? All right, so look, this is what it looks like. If this confused you to write it like this, then don't. You don't have to write that. You don't have to write that. So now let's factor. Anytime that you factor, you always look for GCF first. So what is the GCF, the greatest common factor of all three? What's the greatest common factor of all three numbers? Say again. 8 is. So let's take out an 8. So when I take out an 8, okay, what can I multiply times 8 to give me this negative 16x squared? Negative 2x squared. Okay, somebody different this time, okay? What can I multiply times 8 to give me a positive 64x? Okay, good, 8x. People at home, don't forget you're part of class too. I hadn't heard anybody say anything, okay? I need y'all to speak up. What can I multiply times 8 to give us the 80 here? What can I multiply times 8 to get 80? Brayden? Oh, yeah. Good. Very good. Somebody at home. Excellent job. Okay. All right. Any questions about how I got this line? All I did was factor using GCF. All right. So now let's look. Now I'm going to factor what's in the parentheses. I'm going to keep just bring it down to 8, but now I need to factor what's in the parentheses. This is a trinomial. 1, 2, 3 terms. This first number right here is not 1. This is not a 1. So what you do, take a little scrap piece of paper. I'm going to multiply the first and the last number together. When I multiply these two numbers together, it gives me a negative 20. Okay, so I'm going to make my table, and I have negative 20, product or multiplication. What two numbers can be multiplied together to give me a negative 20? But when I add them together, it gives me this middle number, a positive 8. Okay, come on. Somebody different. What two numbers can be multiplied together to give me a negative 20? But when I add them together, guys, I get a positive 8. Somebody at home.
Negative 2 times 10.
Very good. Negative 2 times the 10. Excellent job. So when I add negative 2 plus a positive 10 together, that gives me 8. Okay. So I'm going to use these two numbers. All right. So this is how this works. I break this down to two numbers, and I'm using negative 2 and positive 10. So negative 2 x plus a positive 10x breaks down this middle number. And I just bring everything else down. This plus 10 on the end, this minus 2x squared on the end. I'll put this in parentheses and bring down the 8. Any questions about how I got this line? All right, good folks. So now I'm going to factor by grouping because it's 4 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to factor these two together. I'm going to factor these two together. All right. So what is, I'm just keep bringing that 8 down. Don't worry about it. Just keep bringing the 8 down. What number can I take out? What's the GCF of these two terms right here? What do they have in common? Greatest common factor. Negative 2x. Okay. All right. So when I take out a negative 2x, what can I multiply times this negative 2x to give me a negative 2x squared? Just x. Okay. Somebody different now. What can I multiply times a negative 2x to give me a negative 2x? Come on, somebody at home. Somebody said it here. Good. And at home, 1. A positive 1. Okay. Now let's do GCF here. Somebody at home. What is the greatest common factor between these two numbers here? Terms here, sorry. Very good. A positive 10. So I'm going to take out a 10. What can I multiply times 10 to give me a 10x? X. Okay. What can I multiply times 10 to give me 10? Very good. A positive 1. Great job. So now I'm going to put all of this in parentheses so I can bring down this 8. Okay, I'm just going to keep bringing the 8 down, okay? All right, so now look. What do I do? Just looking at what's in the parentheses, what do I notice? I notice that this number, this term here, and this term here are being multiplied by the same binomial. So what do I do with these two numbers here? Come on. Yes, babe, Kaylee? So, yes. Very good. So you're going to put them in the parentheses together. That's negative 2x plus 10. And right beside it, you're going to put the binomial that they're both being multiplied by. Okay? And bring down the 8. So now you have factored this. Any questions about factoring here? Okay, so now look at this. Looky. Now what you're going to do is set each of these factors equal to 0. Okay, so you're going to set them each equal to 0. This is 8 equal to 0, not true. So don't even worry about that. That's just formality. Don't worry about it. And here you have negative 2x plus 10 is equal to 0. And then you have x plus 1 is equal to 0. That's what it means when it says solve a quadratic function. You're trying to figure out where does this parabola cross the x-axis. So now you got to find x. How do I solve for x here? This is a 2-step equation. What am I going to get rid of first?
10.
The 10. Very good. How do I get rid of the 10?
Subtract.
Excellent. So we're going to subtract 10 on both sides. This is gone, and I'm left with negative 2x is equal to, this gives me a negative 10. Okay. Now what do we do to get x by itself?
Divide.
Divide. Excellent job. We're going to divide both sides by negative 2. And x here is going to be equal to what?
5.
5. So this is going to be 5 seconds because x in this problem represents seconds. Okay. So now let's solve this. How do you get x by itself here? Very good. You subtract 1. This gives me x is equal to a negative 1. So x here is equal to negative 1 seconds. Which one, guys, makes the most sense? The 5 seconds. You can't have negative 1 second. So we already know that part of the parabola doesn't make sense to the problem. So our answer here is going to be, we didn't say what our answer was for the first one, did we? Kind of did what we did. Very good. But what letter choice is that? Good deal. So a strategy that I always use when I work out tests like this is that I always write my answer on the scrap paper too. I number it, box it in, write my answer. So that way, if I get a misalignment, then I don't have to go back through and work problems out again. I know where it is and I just copy the answer again. So this was, this first one was actually D. Let me put that on my scrap paper. And the second one is actually A. Okay, any questions about that one? Yes, baby. Yes. Okay. All right, let's look at number 3. A rock is thrown from the top of the building. Okay. The distance in feet, so that means y is feet, between the rock and the ground, x seconds. So x is time in seconds after being thrown, and this is the equation there. How long? So they're asking me for x value because that's talking about time. How long after the rock is thrown is it 340 feet from the ground? So they're asking you for x. What is x equal to when y is equal to 340? Okay, so now look, you notice how these answers are decimals? More than likely, this is a calculator active problem. Okay, you will not be able to do this pencil and paper. This is calculator active. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. So let me turn this on. We're going to clear our calculator. Second plus 7, 1, 2. Any questions about how I came to the conclusion that we're looking for x seconds when y is equal to 340? So let's type this equation in our calculator. Okay, y is equal to, and let's type in -16 x squared minus 4. Please type this in with me because you're going to want to know how to do this. This is super important. This is going to save you so much work, Lord. This calculator is your friend for this test. It really is your friend. All right, so now we type that in. So now what we want to do, when we go to our table to look at our x values, look at that. All of these are whole numbers. So I would have to estimate. We don't want to estimate. We want to know the exact amount. Okay. So what you do is you go to table set, press second window, and I'll write this down for you. Second, press the second button and window. Press the second and window button for your table setup. So you see where it says independent, that's your X, this is your Y. Let's type in X values, okay? And figure out what our Y values are. Take it off auto and go to X. So now you can type those values in, the X values in, to see if this is the Y value you get. Okay, so let's go to the table, the second graph. And so now we can type in our X values. So this first X value here is 2.256. So let's type in 2.256. Type that in and press enter. And your Y value you get for that is 296.57. 296, that is not 340. So let's type in our B value. Our B value is 1.50 or 1.5. Enter. Did I type it in right? I didn't type it in right, did I? Yeah, I typed it in. Okay. All right, so I typed in 150. That gives us 342. Okay, that's close, right? I want to say that I typed that in wrong. No, I don't think I typed it in wrong. negative, did I type it in wrong? Negative 16 x squared minus 4. Oh, I did. Look at the x is missing. Follow your instinct sometimes, you know? There we go. That's better. Okay, there we go. It's 340. Okay. And then let's type in 3.324 and 0.236. And so you can already see your answer is 1.5 because that gives you 340. Okay. So my answer here is going to be B. So on my white paper, I'm still going to write number 3 just in case of misalignment, and I'm going to put B as my answer. And that is 150. Save myself some work at the end because sometimes, you know how you misalign on a test? Oh my God, it's a lot of work to fix that. All right, so any questions? Okay, a rock is thrown from the top of a tall building. The distance in feet between the rock and the ground is x seconds. So this is the same equation again. Okay, how long? All right, that's x again. After the rock is thrown, does it hit the ground? So what part of the parabola do they want here? Well, they want the part of the parabola, this part of the parabola right here, where it hits the ground. They want to know what that x value is. We already know that when it hits the ground, the height is 0. We already know this. This is what we need to find right here. Again, do you see how these are decimals? This is probably, most likely, a calculator active problem. This will probably be on the calculator active section. So we're going to use our graphic calculator for this, okay? So do the same thing again. Watch what Ms. Reyes does. I'm going to clear my calculator. Second plus 712. I'll show you what to do. Go to y equals, and we're going to type this equation in. So that gives us, please do this with me so you'll know, negative 16 x squared minus 4 x plus 382. Make sure I typed it in right this time. Okay, yes it did. So now after you type this in, let's graph it. If you just press the graph, you're not going to see it because remember, your calculator automatically just does negative 10 to positive 10, negative 10 to positive 10 on both the x and the y axis. So go to zoom and go to zoom fit. And this, the calculator will give you the best graph or coordinate plane for this graph. So zoom fit is what you use. Now, if you have to make changes from here, that's okay. Okay, there we go. Now we can see the parabola. All right. So this is the measurement right here that you want to find. This side of the parabola right here. So this is how you find that. You are going to press, and I'm going to write it down for you, second button and trace. Okay. Second, trace. And you're trying to find this value right here. Okay, you're trying to find this value on the side right here. So you're trying to find your 0. This is, or your x-intercept. But the choice that you choose in the calculator is number 2, 0. Okay. Now look at what comes up on your screen. You're going to tell the calculator where to search. So we're going to search this side. So we're going to press the arrow over. And the left side, right here, above the line, somewhere above the line here, somewhere in here, just as long as it's above the line, press enter. And then go below the line, just a little below the line, and press enter. You're telling the calculator to search within here somewhere. And now press enter once more. When you see guess, just press enter. And now the calculator gives you this point right here. So this point is 4.76. Okay, so it's x is equal to 4.76 seconds. Okay, and this is C. Okay, any questions about that? Okay. Anyone still writing? Okay. Go ahead, baby. What's up? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. In efforts to catch the criminal, a superhero is going to leap over the building. Okay. So we already know that it's a downward parabola again. Okay. They want to take a shortcut down the alley. So this is the function. All right. So it says gives the superhero height in feet of a function in time. So the building is this tall. So can that superhero jump over the building? So you need to know the maximum height that superhero can jump, this amount right here, okay? You need to know the height. X represents the seconds, but Y represents the actual feet. This is what you're looking for, okay? So let's use the calculator to do that, all right? So we press second plus 7, 1, 2, y equals, and we're going to type in this equation. The equation here is going to be a negative 16x plus 150x. Okay, and there's no c. So that means this superhero is jumping from the ground. Woo! Okay. Squared. Oh, forgot the square. Thank you, babe. And I probably should have did an insert. Okay. All right. So there we go. Okay. So now we want to do zoom fit. Enter. All right, I need more space. You see how this cuts off right here? I want more space on this side. So this is where I can go to my window and go over on the X, go over 20. And let's see what that looks like. That's better, okay? And then I need to go up some, and I can cut some of this space out. So window again, cut some of that space going down. It's going down negative 3,000. It don't need to go down that far, negative 500. And then go up 400. Okay, that looks better. Woo, yeah, it's better. All right, so now that's a better view. Okay, that's a better view. All right, so now what we want is this right here. So again, let me show you how to do that. You're gonna press that second trace again. Second trace is your friend. Second trace is your friend. So we press second trace again. And this time I want my maximum amount, my maximum height. Okay, so go to maximum. Okay, and so you want the calculator to search again. The left side, go over a little bit. So press enter on this side, and then press enter on the right side of the parabola. So the calculator can search between these two points, and press enter again. So this is your maximum height. The time is 4.68. That's X, and the maximum height is 351 point some change. So X is equal to 4.68 seconds. So in 4.68 seconds, he reached his highest point at 351.56 feet. So did he jump? Can he jump high enough? Can he jump over a building that's 425 feet high? No, he won't make it. So A is not true, okay? And the rest of them are no. So it says, no, the superhero can only jump the height of half the building. No, give him more credit than that. That's more, 300 or something is more than half. So this is not right. Okay. No, the superhero will crash the building at 351 feet. Yeah, that's true, ain't it? It's about 351 feet. So this is possible answer. And it says, no, the superhero can only jump 150 feet. It can jump higher than 150 feet. They trying to play him. Bless his little pointy head. So the C is your answer here. C is the best answer here. Any questions about this one? Okay. And again, second trace is your friend. Second trace is your friend. Okay, number 6. Number 6 says the height in feet of a curved arc support for a bridge can be modeled. This is the equation right here. Okay. You are standing on a platform 2 feet above the maximum height, okay, of the arc. If you bungee jump from this point, and your bungee jump will stretch 420 feet before retracting, are you safe to jump? So again, what are we trying to figure out here? Oh my God, this says, who cares? You have insurance. Please don't choose that as your answer. Brandon, don't choose that as your what you. I could see him choosing that as his answer too. Y'all don't do that. Okay, don't. This is a dumb. Don't do that. I know you don't care, but please don't choose that as an answer and want it right. Okay. What you say? I know it. Okay, so what are we looking for in this parabola? In this parabola right here, what are we looking for? You are standing. Well, it says the height in feet curved at the arc support a bridge that can be. This is the bridge right here. Okay. This is the bridge. This is the formula right here for this. So we could figure out what the maximum height is here. Okay. This is where the bridge touches the ground right here on this side right here too. The initial height is right here. The initial height is 1.65. This is the initial height of the bridge. Okay. And what else? What else do you need to know? And you are standing on a platform that's 2 feet, so it's a little above this. Okay. Above the maximum. Wait a minute. Above the maximum height, 2 feet. Okay, so so you need to figure out what this maximum height is right here, and you're standing 2 feet above it. Okay, so it said if your budget is okay, your bungee stretches. So you need to know what that maximum. You need to know what that maximum height is. This is what you're trying to figure out, and add 2 feet to it to see if it's safe for you to drop. Because guys, if it's not at least if it's less than this right here, oh boy, you are a flat pancake. Okay, you're gonna splat. If it's only 350, you're gonna die. Okay? No, you're gonna die. So you need to figure out what this high point is. So I'm gonna let you do this one on your own. Type this in the calculator to see what your high point is and see if it's gonna be totally safe for you. Questions, comments, or concerns? The same thing that you did up here to number 5 is what you're going to do down here for this last one. Okay, and don't forget that you're 2 feet above. You're 2 feet above. So you're really at 422. Okay, well, it needs to be 4. Well, I'll let you figure that out. I won't say anything. Keep my mouth closed. Zoop, zoop. You figure that out. Questions, comments, or concerns? Tomorrow, I have another doctor's appointment, so you will work on your EOC review. I'm gonna post the next video up. Please make sure that you watch that and get as much done as you possibly can. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask questions. And if I'm able to come back in later in the afternoon, I'll be more than happy to meet with some of you guys after school if you'd like, if I'm finished by then. So please text me if you know you need some help, and I'll be more than happy to help you later on tomorrow. Any questions? All right, you should be able to finish the quadratic equations stuff. If not, then that's what you should be asking me questions about. Okay, that's what you should be asking me questions about. I don't have any more notes for you to really write down. No, there are no more notes for you to really write down. I do need you to watch the videos though. Any questions? You do need to submit this assignment. I probably won't check it until tomorrow to give you some more time. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video.